how can you make your hard work the most rewarding? What can you do to make that hard work give you the biggest dividends and the highest returns? And this is where people say work smart. Some people say work smart, don't work hard. I think that's a bunch of crap. I think you need to work smart and work hard. They go hand in hand, because that hard work is going to allow you to scale your smart work. But you now have to understand, okay, I want to become more financially successful. So now, how do I do that? What is the financial education? What am I working for? When I make more money, what am I going to do with this money? Where am I going to invest it? How am I earning this money? What can I do in terms of taxes to protect my wealth? What can I do with my investments to scale them? What can I do to build an asset? What can I do to build a business? What can I do to scale the assets that I do own? So now you start asking these questions. And I know this is getting very deep in some of these topics, but it all starts with that mindset of believing that it's possible for you. Because if you don't believe it's possible for you, you're right. But if you believe it's possible for you, you're also right. And whatever your belief is going to change what output you take.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a really fantastic answer. I think from start to finish, mindset itself is so important.
But what I learned later on is that I didn't actually build a business. I just built my own job. I hosted a party, I would get paid. If I didn't host a party, I wouldn't get paid. So it relied 100% on me. Yeah, it was a good income, but it was reliant 100% on me. That's not a business. And then you start to think differently. Well, a business means that now you can build something where you can potentially hire somebody to take your job. That's the business. Because now you, as the business owner, you're not working for a salary. You're working for the profits. There's two different aspects to it. And not everybody has to go out and start a business, but everybody in America should be a business owner. Period. In the American system, it rewards business owners, and everybody should be a business owner. Period. However, this does not mean that the majority of people should start a business, and this does not mean that the majority of people should operate a business, because the majority of people don't have it in them or don't want to operate or start a business. So how do you do that? Well, you invest your money. Now, for me, I'm an entrepreneur, so I started my own company. But what I learned is there's two different types of income in that sense. There's the income you get from your labor. I go to work to get paid. I start a company and I work in the company and I get paid. The second is the equity side. I get paid for my profits because I own the company. If you can't start your own company, fine. You can invest in stocks. You can invest in real estate. You can invest in whatever. Now, when these investments that you own or you start make a profit, you get your share of that. And this is money you're making not because you're working at a company, not because you're working in this business or asset that you own, but because you own it. That's where the real wealth is built. Wealthy people spend their money to earn more money. Yeah, the majority of everyone else spend their money to buy things, which makes everybody else around them rich.
Yeah, and then assets versus liabilities is a great conversation as well. What's your best business advice for this next year?
Number one, hustle. Number two, try to spend as little money as possible until you make money. So entrepreneurship is hard. You got to work a lot. And in the early days, I was working around the clock, 7 days a week, never took a vacation, never spent money. You got to be willing to work and understanding that it takes time. I say a decade of sacrifice. If you really want to see success in business, there's a lot of people on the internet selling this crap that you can do it in 6 months. Yeah, you can do it in 6 months if you put in the decade of learning how it works. But you can't bypass that effort of learning, that effort of going through the mistakes, that effort of everything. Yeah, education can shorten that time, but you can't bypass all that effort. Building a business takes a lot of effort, a lot of time, and a lot of work.
Yeah. So
understanding that, there's a lot of glorification of it out there, but the reality, it takes a lot of time and a lot of learning. The people who talk about, I made $1 million last year and I'm flying in a private jet, that's complete crap. It doesn't work like that. The first time I made $1 million in a year, I reinvested almost all of it. I think I took home about $20,000 and reinvested everything else back into the business. Because if you're building a business, You have to keep growing the machine. You have to keep oiling the machine. You have to keep taking care of the machine. You have to take care of employees. You have to grow. If you start stalling, you start dying. And as an entrepreneur, you can't just, if you made $1 million a year and you take all of it out and you start flying in private jets, which by the way is a horrible financial decision at $1 million a year. I mean, you can't afford flying in a private jet at $1 million a year. But if you start taking your money and you start doing these things, well, you're taking all the lifeblood out of your business, because that cash is the lifeblood of your business. And then what happens if things hit the fan next year? The economy slows down. You start driving revenue. What are you going to do? You're going to let everybody go and shut the business down? I mean, it's a matter of really now understanding that it takes a lot of nurturing. And now, just like you have your own emergency fund for your personal finances, you got to build an emergency fund for your business. Because now when you have employees relying on you, well, if you stop making money, what are they going to do? They got to get paid too. So you have expenses you have to account for. You have growth you have to account for. And you have to love it. Don't start a business because you think you're going to get rich. Start a business because you love the passion, you love the purpose. And when you do it for the purpose, you're going to be willing to make the sacrifice. If you do it for the money, you're going to get burned out very quickly when you see how much work it really takes.
Yeah. Purpose, passion for what you're doing, what that business is just so important, because it won't last, right? And trying multiple things and working hard work works. And like
you got to work hard, man. I don't recommend what I do to anybody, but when I started, because I had people I needed to prove wrong. I had the whole world telling me that I could never be an entrepreneur. I had everybody telling me that I was dumb for trying to leave the comfort of trying to be a doctor. I had the whole world telling me that I was throwing every sacrifice my parents made for me away. So I had to work because I knew I didn't want to let that be reality. And I worked 20-hour days, 7 days a week. That meant I was sleeping 4 hours a night consistently. I mean, it's a grind, a real grind you have to go through. And, everyone's different. I can't do that same 4 hours of sleep in a night now. I need more sleep. I need more rest. That's why I don't tell people what to do, but you got to be willing to put in the work that nobody else does. Because if you're not willing to do that, you're going to be outworked and you're going to get beat.
Yep.
And business, it's a war, man. Everyone's out there trying to beat you. And if you're not willing to put in the work, then someone else is going to come in and they're going to beat you.